Hello everyone, this is Erik, the Asian movie enthusiast, and this is my review of Helios, an action thriller drama hybrid from 2015 that was a co-production between Hong Kong and China. South Korea's top most wanted criminal, nicknamed Helios, and his assistant, nicknamed Messenger, have successfully stolen a weapon of mass destruction, secretly developed by the South Korean military. It's a portable nuclear explosive device called DC-8, which was stolen, along with 16 raw material spheres. Now, the police forces of Hong Kong, China, and South Korea have been informed that Helios will sell the device in Hong Kong, prompting a counterterrorism unit to spring into action. This is one of the more generic plot synopses that you could really have for an action film. I mean, we've seen this plot done a million times before, right? So it's, somebody stole a weapon, we got to get it back, right? Or catch the bad guys. So there's not much here in terms of originality. However, as I always say, it's the execution that counts for films like this. It does have a pretty generic setup at first, and the character development is a bit on the thin side, I would say. But Helios is more concerned with establishing conflict between the characters. We bounce between the villains, the Hong Kong protagonists, and the Korean protagonists who have a Hong Kong contact tagging along with them. And I think the script writing does a good enough job of keeping things interesting by establishing some rivalries between the characters, as well as uncovering some hidden agendas that are at play. At times, especially near the end, it does get a bit ballsy, I think, and oddly unpredictable, which I kind of appreciated. There are also some discussions and references to Hong Kong's relationship with mainland China, which is always an interesting dynamic to look out for in films that are either co-produced or fully produced by the mainland, or even Hong Kong films alone. There's always that dynamic, going on, and it's one of the interesting things that you'll find in films like this from this particular region. Performances are solid by an extensive, recognizable cast. You got Nick Chung, Sean Yu, Siwon Choi, etc. Nick Chung's character has a little bit of an edge to him in this, and he does a few immoral things that I actually really liked, because his actions make sense, even if they're driven by emotion. So, for example, he gets into this fist fight in an alleyway and basically loses, but he gets saved by his colleagues, and he gets up and he kicks the bad guy in the chest, just as it was just a cheap shot, but I would have done it too. You know what I mean? That part had me laughing quite a bit. That was funny. And then we have Jackie Chung in this, who has a significant role in this film, and as usual, Jackie Chung is more convincing in his action thriller roles when compared to his other genres, so he's good here. In terms of action beats, this movie kind of comes alive with a good parking garage shootout. It transforms into a motorcycle chase, and it's pretty impactful in how the gunplay is executed. I like the use of squibs. I love squibs. There's nothing worse than seeing a gunfight and people are shooting at each other and you don't see any damage around people. It distracts me. So this movie uses a lot of squibs and explosions in confined areas, and it gives it a bit of intensity, A lot of the effects are practical, and they help to ground the action physics. There are a few brief shots that are unrealistic, but, it's no big deal. Sound design is good as well. All of this adds to that intensity of the action that I enjoyed. There's a very good one-on-one alleyway fight that you're not really expecting. It's entertaining for sure. There's some effective grappling and MMA maneuvers, especially some takedowns and ground moves. That was a good scene. And then there's a shootout on a boat dock that's satisfying. So, I mean, overall, I did enjoy the action Helios. And the pacing is brisk enough. I mean, if you think about it, there's really only 3 action set pieces for an almost 2-hour movie, which seems like it could be problematic. But to its credit, I did enjoy the plotting and the scheming by the characters in between the action scenes. So it's not like I'm just sitting there twiddling my thumbs, just waiting for the next action scene. I kind of like the plotting in this film. It does avoid being boring, really. But in all honesty, could this film have benefited from one more big action scene in the first half? I think it would have. If they would have added one more set piece during the opening half, I think it would have maybe taken it up another notch just a little bit. I feel like 4 action set pieces would have worked a little bit better than 3 in a film like this. Not a big problem, but it would have improved the experience a little bit. The ending. It does one of those things where it sets up a sequel, but there never was a sequel. So that is a little bit frustrating. It's understandable to be frustrated by the ending of this film because it's problematic in how it resolves some things and then leaves some other things open. It's the biggest flaw in the movie, in my opinion. And it never actually, since they never made a sequel, if you choose to watch the film, you should go into it with the knowledge that they kind of screwed up the ending. They really could have, I think they could have resolved things more fluidly. But still, there's one scene near the end, actually 2 scenes near the end that I thought were pretty entertaining and rather unexpected. So I did like that. But they still should have cleaned up the ending, made it a little bit more definitive. Overall, I think Helios is an entertaining action flick. It has a good cast, it's got good conflicts, and it has good action. But it limits itself from being like a great film with its kind of unsatisfying ending and a few smaller flaws that I previously mentioned. It is currently available on Netflix in the United States. If you're looking for a decent action flick to watch, grab some popcorn. I think it's a pretty cool flick. It's a good flick. And as always, we'll see you next time.